Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar today on how to update your Bookshare accounts to get ready for the new school year. Thank you so much for joining us, and we are excited to share with you some helpful tips, and we're going to get to those in just a minute, but I'm very quickly going to introduce our team of presenters. So I'm Christine Jones, Associate Director of U.S. Education at Bookshare. You guys can share your screen and introduce yourselves.
Hi all. We are from Albuquerque Public Schools. My name is Megan Shanley. I'm part of the UDL team.
Yes, I'm Miguel Lucero. I am also part of the UDL team.
And I am Jennifer Armstrong, also part of the UDL team.
And in case you don't know what UDL is, it's Universal Design for Learning. I'm sorry, all these acronyms. About 7 years ago, I think it was, we decided that our assistive technology team wasn't reaching the large majority of our kids who could benefit from technology tools such as word prediction, text-to-speech, and ebooks. And so we made up a team, the Universal Design for Learning team, and our primary goal is to go around and train our district. We have 150 schools, so it's a large district, on these tools that we use. And one of our primary tools is Bookshare. It's a huge library of accessible e-text, and so we train on that pretty much 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, we are super grateful to have you guys joining us today. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the controls again and share my slides. So I'm just going to quickly go through some basic information about Bookshare for anybody who's brand new. Hopefully everybody can see this Bookshare screen. Bookshare is an ebook library that makes reading easier. People with reading barriers such as dyslexia, blindness, and other disabilities that affect reading can then read in ways that work better for them. So they might choose to listen to books read aloud, just enjoy them in audio. They might like to follow along with the audio and the highlighted text. As you'll see from this image on the screen, it's a tablet with a sentence highlighted in one color and the words are being highlighted in another color. And most of the tools that read Bookshare books allow for that kind of multimodal reading experience where they're hearing the text read out loud and also seeing it highlighted on the screen at the same time. They can choose just to read in large type if that is what they need to do, or they can output it in Braille, either on a Braille device or hard copy Braille. So lots of different ways to read the books. The collection currently has more than 750,000 titles, and we add about 5,000 titles every month. Those come to us in many cases directly from publishers. We have about, I think it's around 900 publishers that provide books to us on a regular basis. Those can include textbooks, books for both assigned and leisure reading, how-to books to develop skill sets and basically broaden a student's abilities, and then periodicals, newspapers, and magazines. The best part of Bookshare is that it's free for all qualified United States students of any age because of our funding from the U.S. Department of Ed, Office of Special Education Programs. There's a lot of free ways to read Bookshare books and many commonly available and low-cost options as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to the ADL team at Albuquerque Public Schools to show us a few different things: how to update students' grade levels, how to add new students, how to assign students to new grade level reading lists, how to move students from one reading list to another, and how to remove students from reading lists that no longer apply, and some other things if time permits. They have a lot to share. So let me stop sharing my screen and turn it over to you, Megan.
Okay, great. We will try to now share our screen. So, being a district of 150 schools and I think it's 85,000 students now, we have quite the challenge in keeping up with the rotating staff and students that we have going from school to school. So we're just going to show you a few things that we focus on at the beginning of the school year with our teachers to try to get them up and running again on Bookshare. And Jennifer's going to start.
Alrighty. Hi everyone. So hopefully you can still see our screen. I'm first going to focus on updating grade levels for our individual student, updating grade levels as an incremental group, and then adding members to your Bookshare account. So if you'll look at the screen right in the center, there are 3 tabs, green, red, and blue. We're going to focus on the first tab where it says Add Students. So if I click on Add Students, this will take me to the Manage Members page. I can also access this by going to the left-hand side of my screen to the Members button, but I'm just going to go ahead and access it here by clicking on the green button. So once again, this will take me to my Manage Members page. And here I will see a list of all of those students who qualify.
We're sorry, everything in Albuquerque moves slowly, so as well as the internet. So
Right.
maybe a slight delay.
So now we're here on the Manage Members page, and you'll notice that you can kind of divide this into 4 sections. At the very top, we have our members, and then next we have our 6 form fields where we can filter or sort through our members. And then we have our actual list of members, and then at the very bottom we have another area where we can do more actions. So we're going to focus on this area right now. Let's say that we have a student who is in the 9th grade and or who is now in the 10th grade. So let's focus on this student here, Georgie Washington. So if I want to update his grade level, all I have to do is click on the edit button. Okay, and when I click on the edit button, I will be taken to his information, his name, his username, his password, and there we go. And so if you look down here at the bottom where it says current grade, all I would do is click on this and then change his grade level, and then I need to make sure that I save that information. So that would be student by student updating the grade level. But however, maybe I just want to increment a group together. So as soon as this saves, I will show you how to update the grade levels of a group of students. So you can do this by, if you navigate to the top of your screen, of course, you can select. So I'm just going to go ahead and navigate to the top of my screen. Oh, let's see. There we go. Okay. I go all the way to the top. Sorry about that. I can select all of my students by clicking on this button here in the blue rectangle, and that will select all my students. But let's say that I just have a certain group of students back down here at the bottom of my screen. Thank you for following me in this endeavor. And let's say I just want to select the last 5 students here. So let's say I wanted to get Billy, Test, Adams, Georgie, and ABC. Okay, so all of these students have now advanced to another grade. So I've selected them, and then you can see here at the bottom of my screen where I go to more actions, I will find increment grade level. So once again, that's more actions, increment grade level, and then a pop-up will appear that says this action will advance the grade level of all selected members by 1 level. Continue. And that's where I click OK, and then I'll wait, and I'll notice here in this column that all of their grades will be advanced by one year. So that's how you update the grade levels. Next, we wanted to show you how you can add a member. It's a new school year, you have a new qualifying individual, and you would like to add that student. So there are different ways that you can do that. You can see here, since I'm at the bottom of the screen, I have the silhouette plus sign for add member. I can do it there, or I could go back up to the top of the screen, back in that initial area where it says members, and then you will see the silhouette here. When I click on this, I will be taken to the information that I put in for my new student. This includes their name. There we go. Okay, so let's just walk through this. So my first form field says first name. So I have a new student that has joined me. Her name is Amelia. Okay, her last name is Bedelia. She is a very famous student. Okay, and then I have to enter her birth date, and she was born on June 1st, 1988. So I'm going to enter 2 digits for the month, 2 digits for the day, and then, oh, sorry, you have to put that in there. Okay, June 1st, 1988. Okay, and Amelia is in 4th grade, so I'm going to enter her grade. Okay, and then I'm going to move over to her username. The usernames have to be 6 characters, so I'm just going to go ahead and put in Amelia. And then the password has to be, I believe, 8 characters. So let's do 987654. Very original. 987654. Okay, district. This is where you will choose your district, and we're in the ABC district, school, ABC elementary school. So you're good to go there with all of the account details. And then we get down to the second rectangle here where we're going to focus on the qualifying information. So this is where you will choose the reading barrier. And is it visual, learning, or physical? Let's say learning today. So I would choose that. And then the qualifying plan, I'm going to go ahead and put the user has an IEP. Okay, so once we do that, we would just click save. And then that student would be added to our student roster, our members. So that concludes my piece of this. Now that we have, oh, I'm sorry. It doesn't.
Username already in.
Already
it says,
exists.
there we go.
Amelia. Okay,
Yeah.
there we go.
Oh, and password.
Oh, one more. Sorry. Okay. 8 characters. No, I didn't put 8 characters. Sorry about that. Okay, so.
Was there anything else you wanted to add while we wait for it to process, Christine?
No, I was just going to mention that I believe the passwords have to have a letter and a number.
Oh, that's right.
So
Thank
it has to have
you.
a letter, which is why it's not letting you save that one there.
Yeah.
And right, passwords have to be at least 8 characters and have to have a letter and a number. Usernames can be just about anything, but as you saw, if somebody else in the country is already using a particular username, it can't be in our system twice. So you'll have to edit it a little bit by adding. So let's say if it's numbers, you can add letters, or if it's letters, you can add numbers, etc. So.
There we go.
There we go.
Wonderful.
Yay!
Yay! So
Now that we have our new student added to our roster, my colleague Megan is going to show us how to do reading lists.
So poor Amelia Bedelia, she's just joined my new 4th grade class, and she's added on the account, but as an organizational member, so she doesn't have access to books yet. She needs to be on a reading list. So luckily, I have a lot of reading lists because I've taught for many years, and I have a 4th grade reading list, and I also service 5th and 6th grade. So in a second, you'll see those reading lists come up, and we're going to add Amelia Bedelia into the 4th grade list so she could actually participate in my class. So you can see the reading list that I previously created for my students. Miss Shanley's 4th grade class is right here. So I can go ahead and click on that list, and you'll be able to see that I've had some titles added that are appropriate for my 4th grade class. And so you'll see here it indicates titles, and I have a few books here that are assigned to my 7 members here. But poor Amelia Bedelia, I don't think she's on this list yet. So as soon as it comes up, I'll show you how to add her on. So this can be, reading lists are one of my favorite features for teachers because they can use reading lists they've created year after year without any trouble. So this is the list from last year that I had in my 4th grade class that had access to these. And right here, I want to add a member, and I'm going to add Amelia Bedelia. So I'm going to click that number, or that button, and what you'll see is all of the students that I could possibly add from my school come up. And it's very easy to select the ones that I want to add to my 4th grade reading list. So here we go. We have a whole bunch of kids here I could add. And just like before, like Jennifer said, I could add them all if they were all 4th graders. But right now we're just looking for Amelia Bedelia. There she is, poor thing. We'll add her onto the list. So I'm just going to say add selected members. And then when Amelia Bedelia logs on to the website, the first thing she's going to see at the bottom of the page is a place to click reading lists. And right there will be my 4th grade reading list and the books that she can access through that reading list. So that's a very convenient way to add one or multiple kids to the list. Now, what you'll also notice with my poor 4th grade list is that I got a lot of 5th graders in here, and they don't belong here anymore. We've started a new school year, and so we need to bring those over to my 5th grade reading list. So on the left-hand side here, I can check the box next to all of my students that are in 5th grade. Susie Q and my new student, and I can say assign to a different list. And this is a really easy way to bring those kiddos from the 4th grade list and add the 5th grade list. So in a second, you'll see the list, possible lists come up, and one of them right there is my 5th grade list. There are also a whole bunch of other reading lists I could add them to, and Bookshare has many, many wonderful curated reading lists already ready. So I'm going to go ahead and click the 5th grade list and say assign. Now this means that now those students are assigned to both the 4th grade list and the 5th grade list. For some of these students, that might be great because then they just have even more books to read from. But if this is an assigned reading list and I'm worried about them getting confused about what list is what, I can just go ahead and remove them from that 4th grade list. If you'll notice over here on the right hand side, there's a little trash can, and I can go ahead and press remove, and then they are off of my 4th grade list and only on my 5th grade list for members. This can be really helpful for a fast transition to a new school year. Teachers find this a really handy feature so they can easily transition. So,
hey, I just want to mention really quick that we did these functions in the right order because we upgraded grade levels first, and so when we got to the reading list, the grade levels were current, right? So that's how we can tell whether they're on the right list or not. So that's important that we get the student roster updated first and then go about the business of updating, what reading list they're on. So because the grade levels that are here on the reading list where we see the student names are the same as what's on their student roster. So on the student roster. So we want to update the roster first, make sure all the grade levels are correct, and then we'll be in good shape for updating reading lists. So just wanted to throw that in.
perfect. Do you think we have time for creating a reading list, or should we move on to questions?
Sure, go ahead and cover creating a reading list.
Okay, great. So like I said before, reading lists are my favorite features. So on the left-hand side, there's always this mini dashboard. So you can click back to my reading list. And as it comes up, what you'll notice is that you can add a new reading list. As soon as New Mexico catches up. We're almost there, I promise. There we go. Wonderful. So up here on the top are the quick features to add a reading list. Note that you can also subscribe to reading lists. And I know you guys are doing a webinar on that or have already, I can't remember, on already curated lists. And I love those as well. So here in New Mexico, coming up is the Balloon Fest. No one's been to it before. Make sure I spell balloon right, everyone. Wonderful. It is an amazing festival that has hundreds of balloons in the air at one time. And we often have teachers teach about hot air ballooning. So we're going to make a Balloon Fest list for our 4th graders. I'm going to go ahead and say save. You have the options of sharing this with the organization. So if Ms. Armstrong also wants to assign students to this list, she can as well, to create the list and to give a description of the list. I'm sorry, we're not going yet.
It's teaching us all patience.
Patience, there we go. There we go, we're coming up. So the reading list, like we saw before with the 4th, 5th, and 6th, can be kept forever. So next year when I do a unit for the 4th graders on Balloon Fest, I can share that with them as well. So right now you see that we have a list, but unfortunately we don't have any titles yet, and we don't have any assigned members. So first we need to add some members to our reading list. And we're just going to add a few kiddos from my 4th grade probably as it loads. There we go. Such as Amelia Bedelia and Jane Doe. After I add the selected members, and we find that this is the one step that our teachers forget often, is you have a reading list and you have a list with selected members, but you haven't put any books on there yet. So it's not much use yet until you click on the category for books as it comes up. There we go. And you'll see that titles has a 0. So we still have to go over to titles. And we actually have to, oh, there we go. We're waiting to add titles to that list. And it's a very easy pop-up to add, so hot air balloons. There we go. And you'll get a lot of choices on hot air balloons. If you want to get more specific, you could put in a specific title or an actual ISBN number to find the exact book that you're looking for. But Curious George and the Hot Air Balloons is a great book, as well as How to Build a Hot Air Balloon. And up here, The Mystery of the Hot Air Balloons. So we can save that. And now all of a sudden, our 2 students have 3 books about hot air balloons that they're able to do as a unit. And we can build and study hot air balloons. Great.
Perfect. Thanks so much. That's excellent. Let's see, a couple of thoughts that I had. If you really wanted to get sophisticated with your search, you could use the advanced search feature at the top of the screen there, and you could put in, hot air balloon as either as the title or in the full text box. And then you can also filter that search so that you can pick just, 4th grade books, for example, if you wanted to. And you can even filter further by category. So you can choose, particular categories. Maybe you wanted, 4th grade, children's books. Maybe 4th grade science books about hot air balloons. So let's see if that yields any results. Oh, there's one. Great. One of the ones you already put on your list. But a good book about how to build and launch hot air balloons. So that's a great project for a 4th grader to work on. So just to show a little bit of how we can refine the search. Great. Well, we have a couple minutes for questions, so we're going to open it up and see if anybody has any questions to ask. And so far none have come in. I wanted to mention too, and maybe quickly you could just show the browse button, Megan, and go to browse at the top of the page, the very top. Yep. So that we can see all of these curated reading lists that you mentioned that Bookshare.
Oh yeah.
We are doing some other webinars on this topic, but it's certainly worth pointing out that we have curated a lot of lists already for you to share with students, and There are some highlighted here, but if you click on any of those boxes, for kids, for teachers, for teens, for adults, etc., there are some great lists there. Click on popular series there.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Oops, I'll go back.
Um,
There we go. Hey, it actually loaded.
yeah.
New Mexico might be catching up. Let's see.
So when that opens, you'll see this is what I call a treasure chest, because this is just full of lots of great books for students. So lots of series that kids are already familiar with, and we know from research shows if we can get kids turned on to an author, for example, or a particular series, they're more likely to read more books, to read the whole series or read more books by the same author. So this really will help you with that. We did have one question that came in, which is, can scholastic news be accessed through Bookshare? And I'm not sure about that. We have obviously many scholastic titles. If you want to, you could actually go to advanced search and just put Scholastic as the publisher, and let's see what comes up. I'm not sure about their regular newsletters, but we could certainly see if that comes up. Certainly a lot of their books do. I think the images are loading there. Okay, so we'd have to kind of search through and see if those newsletters do come up. They might be included in the periodicals section of the collection, but other than that, I'm not sure. So can't really answer that at this moment. Any other questions, though, that we can help with? We've got about 1 more minute here. So Megan and you guys, have you already done all of this in your account for your students? Have you got them all set up for the new school year?
A lot of schools are on board and caught up, but being such a large district, we always have a lot of transition come day 40 or 50 with students kind of switching schools. So we'll probably be doing this for the next few weeks just to make sure that all of our kids are on, and then we should be good to go for a while. So.
Great. All right, there was one more question that came in, which is, can students look up and download their own titles, or is it completely governed by reading lists? And this is a really good question, and I'm glad we can address it quickly. So when you add a student to a school account, which is basically what Megan and her team demonstrated today, they have access only to books that have been shared with them by their teachers, either through reading lists or through the new feature, which is called Assign and Read, which is where you basically assign just one book to a student. And we actually have some information on that in our help center, which I can include in our follow-up email. It's very easy to do. You just find a book. In fact, Megan, maybe you can just pull up any book and show that assign button, since you're you have to log into your organizational account to be able to show it. But there you go. You're in it. Yeah, you're in now.
I was afraid we were going to get bumped.
I think you're in, but we'll see. So you can assign individual books to students, and then they'll find those in their account as well under Assign Books. So they'll have a tab for reading lists, and they'll have a tab for Assign Books. When a student is really ready to do everything that, find their own books, they're comfortable with Bookshare, we actually recommend getting them an individual membership in conjunction with their school account. And that's an easy process. We'll cover that in another webinar, but that is a great way to give them that independence, and then they can actually search for and open any book without needing to go through their teacher to do it. Initially, though, this way just ensures that someone is kind of showing them how to get into the book, but as soon as they're set up, we think individual memberships are a great way to go. It's not actually showing the assign button, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I think it may be because it's an organizational demo account and it's the copyright.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep. This is can't access copyrighted books because it's a demo account. So we normally, though, as a teacher, when you log in and you find a book, if you're logged into Bookshare, you'll see a button that says
Oh, here we
assign.
go.
Here's one because that's an out of copyright book. So you can just click on that, Megan, and then you get the student names, and you can pick which students you want to assign that book to, and then when the students log in, they'll see their book. And so that's a quick way to get just one book to a student without having to create a reading list. And I did want to mention that that list, whenever you're assigning books or adding students to reading lists, you can filter or sort those lists of members too. Like if you want to filter to just all the fourth graders, for example, you could do that to make it a little easier, especially if you have a long list of students. When they're really ready to read their own books, we definitely recommend getting them their own individual membership. Okay. I think that we've addressed all the questions and we're out of time, but I want to thank you all so much for joining us, and thank you, Megan and Jennifer and Miguel. It's great to see you guys, and thanks so much for all that you do to support students, and thanks for showing us what you're up to there today. So.
It was great to join you, and we look forward to seeing more people use Bookshare. It's our favorite service.
All right, sounds good. Have a good one. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.